Hey everybody, and welcome back to SkillsUSA Watertown for the fall of 2020. Got a little presentation PowerPoint to help me keep on track here. Hopefully keep this a short video for everybody. And we just have some updates on what's going to be going on here. So we do expect kind of a slow start compared to normal. We're not face to face. We don't have all the pushing and pulling of keeping kids and students and advisors all moving like we need to. So we do just expect to have a lot slower start than we normally do. What's been going on so far? Coaches have been having conversations in the background, gearing up to come in. All of the coaches are excited to come back, get in the shops, work with the kids, and get moving. So we are gearing up for that. We have ordered some personal protective equipment or PPE supplies for us. We assume you have a bunch of your own as well, the masks and stuff like that, but we have ordered some masks for students that maybe don't have them or maybe lose one while they're here. We have ordered some gloves. We have a bunch of sanitization stuff here as well in the shops. We do not expect to have a full 12-month beautiful calendar this year. It's not the first time that we've gone without a calendar. But it definitely is kind of rare for that. But with expectations of things are probably going to be changing and probably going to be fluid throughout the year, we're not putting the effort into a full 12-month calendar this year. So we'll just be doing a month-by-month basis as we move forward. We do have a lot of precautions we need to take while students are in the building or at school functions or events. And we'll be talking about that today for the precautions side. And one of the big concerns we have, because September is usually very heavy on officer elections, we do still need to do that, but that's going to be a little bit different this year as well, likely, because we're trying to recruit students from classes that we don't necessarily have in person to kind of give that nudge. We're trying to encourage other members that have been members to step up and be leaders, and it's just a tough time. People are unsure, but we do still need those officers to be considering that stuff. So SkillsUSA Watertown is open, and we're officially going to be kicking off Open Lab on Wednesday, September 2nd for the majority of our groups. A normal Wednesday evening work night. So we'll open up the doors in the back at 3:30, and we'll go till, 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, depending on the group size and what we have. So you can kind of see there some of the hopes that we're going to get moving. If this changes, we'll get out some emails. Those various coaching groups are, like I said, are having discussions and are doing some planning. And if they decide they're going to do something a little bit different, they'll get an email out. But right now we're tentatively planning on a start for next week, Wednesday. First Lego League is getting a little bit slower start. We are making some changes with that one, and partially because, SkillsUSA and Super Mileage, we got all year to kind of plan for stuff, and we're assuming things in the spring are going to start opening up, that we can start doing stuff regardless. There's going to be options. But that Lego League group, that's like 2 months away, and we know that there's still going to be a lot of issues with that group. So they're just really trying to plan it out properly and not jump in too quick. We are planning on running one team for First Lego League. They're going to be reaching out to those students to fill that one team specifically with the coaches that they have committed. Most likely their competition, normally in November, is not going to be on site. First Lego League Wisconsin and Nationals has already been talking about doing kind of a virtual competition. You're still doing all of the stuff. You're just not next to 20 some other teams in a gymnasium. So that's what they're trying to work out. You'd still have the robot table and things like that, to our knowledge, but those details are still coming. So because of that, there's a lot more unknowns in such a shorter season. That one's starting up a little bit slower as well. So I don't have anything posted in there yet, but I know that we need to be working on some form of communication, getting stuff out there, specifically some of these membership documents. We have a COVID waiver for the school district. We have officer applications, all that kind of stuff has to get out. And normally we'd just be handing these to kids or they'd be coming to a classroom and grabbing them, but that's not really an option. So we're going to be using Google Classroom for that. You can see the code here. I've got it on future slides as well. Like I said, right now it's just kind of a shell. We will be slowly adding stuff into there. But if you want to go ahead and join yourself in, invite your parents as a parent to the classroom, go for it. That'd be wonderful. That is not the same classroom as last spring. Some of you may remember we did start up a Google Classroom back in March, April. I did create a new one for the 2020-2021 school year, and that's what this code is. So I got a couple of slides of precautions here. If you've been paying attention to the school district or any of the 4-hour-long school board meetings that they've been having regularly, or all of the emails coming out, there's lots of information. The good news, as you already know, we're open. You can come into the shops for SkillsUSA. We can do some things. We just have to be careful at what we're doing. So social distancing. We have to stay 3 feet apart from other people, other students, other members, other coaches, and so on with the best of our ability. We realize you might bump into somebody by accident, but the plan is if you got a super mileage team working, they're 3 feet apart each other around the table. So that's a must. Cloth face coverings, masks are a must. Face shields are not in lieu of masks. They must be a cloth face covering, and we're wearing them at all times. Now, I guess if we get in a situation that we're outside lugging heavy stuff, doing, strenuous work for whatever reason, there are exceptions because, athletics does not necessarily have to wear them during games and some heavy practices. But for the most part, what we're doing is not going to be strenuous activity. So we are going to be required to wear masks. And that's even if we're outside working on the road outside the shop. You are on school property, we are going to need masks. Or we're a school function, period. So we're going to need masks. We even wore masks at Glenn's Brathaus fundraiser recently, a couple of weeks ago, and that was an outside activity for Skills. Some people have expressed that they have exceptions for masks for whatever reason. Those don't go through me. You're going to have to go through administration with those requests, and they've got a process as to how they are dealing with that. So if you feel that you fit that situation, you're welcome to reach out to administration and get some sort of waiver that would then be passed down to your coaches and advisors. As I mentioned, if you don't have your own, we did order some of the cheap face masks. We'll have a box or 2 of those laying around as needed, but I'm sure yours are way more comfortable than anything that we're going to provide. Sanitization for work areas, tools, equipment. Each work night, we will need to be wiping down stuff, cleaning up stuff as we move. Just like if it was a classroom, we're supposed to be wiping down the tables and chairs in between classes. This goes to the keyboards and mice on the computers. If you've used it, we should be cleaning it up theoretically, and I'm still working on these details. We're supposed to be cleaning up like tape measures and tools and welding booths and stuff like that. So we'll figure what that is for those students that are out there. It's a minor piece for the ability to come in and start using equipment and getting in the shop again, I think. But it is something we're going to have to pay attention to that we're doing. As you can see here, we ordered some work gloves, some mechanics gloves on Amazon, a couple dozen pairs, different sizes. Our hope is maybe wearing those gloves will limit how much we have to sanitize in the shops. Within reason. If you want to bring in your own mechanics gloves, that's fine. The ones that we bought for school, I'll probably just collect in a bucket at the end of the night each night, and then we'll wash them and have them available again the next week, type of a deal. So they just keep getting washed each time we use them. So we're just hoping for that. They did come through and measure some of our spaces. We are at a 50% capacity. These numbers are pretty high, but it's what they're telling me. So at 50% capacity with the size of the spaces that we have, we do have to limit how many people are in each area. So we're not going to be able to have a traditional membership meeting or Mr. Domer's classroom as the home base where there's just kids coming and going nonstop because we are limited to some of that stuff. So we'll figure it out as we go on. If our Wednesday nights get real busy, we'll have to kind of get flexible on how we manage that. Some of us might be home based in other areas. We'll figure it out. We'll get flexible on that one. We'll solve it. But you need to be aware as well that we do have some maximum capacities in these spaces that we have to work on. Precautions. If you're sick, stay home, period. No questions asked. That's going to be going for school days. It's going for work days. It's going for just going to Walmart, especially coming in here to school. If you have any symptoms, if you've been exposed to anybody who's been COVID positive, hopefully you're taking your temperature before you're coming in, all that stuff. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself as well as taking care of others, because The way that this COVID works, you may have it and don't know it, and you're spreading it. We really need to be cautious about that. So please take care of that. We are required to take your temperature when you come in the building. I believe they're going to be doing that when you're coming in for school days in October. I don't know if that's going to change or not. They're doing that for sports right now, checking every kid that walks onto the football field or tennis court or whatever, checking their temperature. We got to do the same thing. So I got a little infrared touchless thermometer somewhere behind me. So I'm just going to hold it up to your forehead, inch away or so. It's going to beep a number, and as long as you're under, I think, 100 degrees, you're good to go. Just got to take it at the as you come in, whether it's me or another coach. We'll be working on that, and then theoretically, I have to mark off that we took your attendance and that you're here, because we have to have proper attendance records. If they have to do any contact tracing, we need to have those records here for that. So just be aware that's a added step for now, anyways. Hopefully, it's not considered an inconvenience. It's just going to take a little bit of extra time, and again, it's hopefully for the betterment of everybody. The district is requiring you to sign a COVID waiver. I know some of you have already seen this document and signed it for the Glenn's Broadhouse. Thank you. I'll be putting up a copy of that into the Google Classroom soon. We'll probably email it out again as well, but we do need that on file. You don't have to bring it every time you come in or every event you go to. So if you already turned it in for Glenn's Broadhouse, you're covered. But if you have not yet and you're going to get involved some way, we will need that COVID waiver. The other thing I am changing up this year, just because I kind of foresee with us opening up shops and everybody's eager to get in here and start working, I do foresee that the shops fill up pretty quick with class students and stuff like that. And I don't necessarily want chaos. We're opening up right now for SkillsUSA, and it's how I want to support you guys. So in order to kind of limit it to SkillsUSA students, I am going to require you to be a paid member to come in. So for Wednesday in a week when we open up, you'll need to bring in your membership form and your dues, and you're good to go. So just take care of it right away. And we'll be putting that up on the SkillsUSA Google Classroom here very soon so that you have access to that. I still have to do a couple of updates to it. But bring your waiver, bring your fees, you're set for the year, and you have full access to what it is we're working on. So I have had this question already, and I do understand it. Sometimes I get a little bit barky at this topic. Mr. Domer, do I really need to join SkillsUSA? Are you guys really going to be doing anything this year? Everything's going to be canceled. Do I really want to be a part of that? And I do understand it. I do. Last spring was horrendous for everybody. It was really hard on me. I've been doing this for over 20 years, and it was the first spring that I've never been at a SkillsUSA state, at SkillsUSA Nationals, at races. It was really hard for that stuff. And then to watch all of our students who've put all that time in not be able to go, and that bum on your faces as well was just even a bigger hit. So hopefully we are able to start opening up and getting that stuff going. The good news, SkillsUSA Nationals has been working extremely hard this summer. I'm a national technical chair for Team Engineering Challenge. So I know that they are going to be moving forward with national stuff regardless. Their hope is face-to-face, obviously, but every contest at nationals is already starting to plan, how are we going to be doing a virtual contest, or how are we going to do a hybrid contest? So every contest is moving forward with that thought that we will not be shut down. Nationals is also working very hard with all of the state directors around the nation to also help them with their state conferences and their districts and their regionals and their leadership contests and stuff like that, to also ensure that those things aren't getting shut down again. I'm very confident that regardless of where we are in April, there will be SkillsUSA. It may not look like we traditionally have, but there will be SkillsUSA. On the background, you see our IT guy, Frank, hanging out with us. He's going to give us a little bit of a wave. Yeah. He's working diligently in the classroom. Just so you can see behind me, it's kind of a mess, but we're trying to get everything up and running for us to get moving here. So I promise, SkillsUSA Wisconsin, I really, really, really hope is going to have stuff going on. There is plans. The turmoil, though, as I have there, the unsureness, in June of this past summer, our SkillsUSA Wisconsin state director did step down and leave. We no longer have top leadership in SkillsUSA Wisconsin at this point in time. His secretary left back in December. They have not replaced the secretary either. So there is a lot of unknown in SkillsUSA Wisconsin. They are in the process of hiring that position. That is ongoing right now. Hopefully they're hired very soon and in place and ready to rock and roll and start moving. But in regards to Skills USA Wisconsin, we have not heard a whole lot moving forward because of that. But I can promise you, state after state after state in the nation that I have heard from other state directors and stuff, they are gearing up to be ready for the spring. So I'm assuming we will have Skills USA. Challenge USA, the Super Miles and Electathon entities, a little bit more difficult. It's really hard to do a virtual or a hybrid competition around these cars. When the concept of the car is driving it on a track, how do you do that from here or anywhere else? So that's a difficult one to really answer. Right now, there is scheduled an October race or challenge in La Crosse again. We went to it last year. That is on the books for this year. I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not. And one of the problems that we're running into, as you can see, I got some notes down below there. It's not the ability for us to go to an event because, the sports are going to be traveling to meets. They're going to be taking precautions, taking buses at half capacity. They're doing things so that students can still go to these competitions. That's not the issue. The issue is subs. It really is one of the biggest ones across the nation or the state right now. Anyways, it's one thing for us to be able to go, but if we're going during the school day and they need a teacher sub and we don't have any teacher subs to step in, they're just saying no field trips, no conferences, no anything during the school day because they can't fill the classroom with somebody to be in there. Is one of the issues we're running into. The other one I haven't even asked about yet would be overnight events. If those are going to be allowed or not, I don't know. But a 1 day in and out on a Saturday event should be able to be pulling off something like that. So I can't really answer, will we, won't we have Super Miles or Electathon in the spring or in October? I don't have that answer. That's a bigger question to figure out. I will say that they are sending out a survey to advisors and teams in the next week or two to start figuring out some of those questions. So teachers like me can go ask our principals and get back to Challenge USA so they can start making some decisions. But in my opinion, we're still going to move. Hopefully you're still dedicated. Hopefully you're still excited to build these cars. We can still do testing in the parking lots. We can still get them going. We still get the educational value of learning, engineering, welding, machining, making stuff, problem solving things. So my hope is we are still moving forward on those things. I have no intentions of slowing that down. But ultimately, that's up to you as students if you're going to make that decision to commit or not. My hope is you do, but I can't force, obviously. And then First Lego League, I kind of mentioned earlier. Their plans is to have some sort of virtual hybrid competition where you're still doing the stuff here at our local school, videotaping it or sending it in type of thing. Not 100% sure what that looks like, but those are in the works. And Mrs. Domer, Mrs. Olson have been more in the loop on those and gearing up with their coaches. And pretty soon they'll be hopefully inviting the students in. So, yes, will there still be stuff going on this year? My assumption, my hope, my moving forward is yes. As I had mentioned earlier, I know this video is getting a little bit long, but one of our biggest concerns moving forward is making sure that we get that officer leadership team in place because this is not an organization led by me. This is not an organization led by Mrs. Domer or Mrs. Olson or whoever. This organization is led by our students who step up to be officers. And I'm there to help guide, coach, encourage, support, whatever is needed in that group. Yes, there's decisions I make, but any past officer can usually attest to the fact that the officers are in charge. The officers are making decisions and doing that stuff. So we need that. We need you to be considering stepping up, taking an officer position this year. Yes, it's going to be different. Yes, it's probably going to be harder. Yes, this is a rough year. Doesn't mean the work doesn't still need to get done. So please consider these types of roles. And how that'll work. We are pushing back elections a little bit. Obviously, with everything's going to be just a little bit slower this year, we can't push as hard. So hopefully early October, we're able to do our elections, at least for the high school. We've got our positions there, middle school positions. I don't think we run quite as many, but we do have those positions there for middle school officers as well. And you'll be talking to Mrs. Domer, Mrs. Olson for RMS. We'll try to get the officer application packets out in the Google Classroom for you to take a look at. They'll probably be skinnied down a little bit. Maybe you won't be required to get membership signatures and some other stuff in those packets, but those will be posted there. A lot of times students ask, what's required if I run for office? Well, you are required to attend our weekly officer meetings. You're allowed 75% attendance. So if you miss 25% of them, that's fine. Usually once a month. If you miss, it's okay. We get it. The high school officer meetings are usually Sunday evenings. We've been flexible in the time from year to year. Sometimes it's 6 to 7, sometimes it's 7 to 8. We usually round somewhere in that range. So once we get our elected officers, we'll talk about what time in that Sunday evening works best. And that's usually when our meetings are. They might be Zoom, they might be in person. We got to figure that out. But my plan is still move forward. Those officers need that regular push, that regular time to plan and organize. And that's why we have weekly meetings, so that you have that time carved out of your schedule to dedicate to being a leader, not just showing up to stuff that somebody else is running. So, and then you're required to attend the monthly membership meetings. Typically are Wednesdays, 3:30 to 4:30. We'll see if we're still pulling off that time frame. Membership meetings are tough right now. Trying to get kids to come to a Zoom meeting was like pulling teeth back in the spring. So hopefully we can get in person and people want to come to those. We'll see. But again, 75% attendance at those monthly membership meetings. So if you miss one every 4, that's fine. We get it. Things come up. But hopefully you're planning around that. Leadership training, traditionally, we've always gone to Columbus, Nebraska, and for Mid-America Leadership Conference with a couple hundred other SkillsUSA students from around the nation. Such a great event. I guarantee it's not running. I guarantee any in-person, face-to-face leadership conference in the nation is not running right now, Wisconsin or Mid-America. I do know that there's discussions about how to do this virtually. I have some concerns about a virtual conference. There's no way I want us to be sitting down for 2 days in front of a computer just listening to people tell us how to be a leader. That's not training, in my opinion. So I have been keeping my ear to the ground, trying to figure out who's doing a good job, who's doing some planning. I've offered some help myself, so that hopefully we can get a good training. If not, maybe we'll do something ourselves. But typically our officers need to be trained and understand what those roles and duties are. So we'll have that. And then the last requirement is SkillsUSA Spring Banquet. Usually it's a Friday, the second to last week of school, somewhere in there. We had to cancel last year, obviously. But that's where we get to recognize our membership and all the great accomplishments we've done throughout the school year. And the officer team is sitting up front in front of everybody doing the work of that banquet. So that is always a requirement to attend the banquet. You don't have to attend races. You don't have to attend SkillsUSA State. You don't even have to compete in anything to be an officer. I do not require you to go to competitions as an officer. That's your choice. Usually our officers are very, very dedicated and involved in all that great stuff, but they don't have to be. So don't think, I don't want to do super mileage. I can't really be an officer. Or I don't plan on going to SkillsUSA State. I can't be an officer. That's wrong. Everybody has the opportunity to be a leader. And I really think that's important. And by taking on the role of officer, some of those benefits are you're really growing those leadership skills, those communication skills. You're getting the opportunity to work with a group towards a really good task as the year goes along. You're getting closer connections to business and industry usually. There's just a lot of great benefits from that. It builds up the resume and it just makes you more confident typically. So hopefully you're considering being an officer. That's all I got. This is probably a long video here. I know it's been a rough 5 months. I'm sure it's not getting any easier here as we're moving forward into virtual school for a month. Hopefully SkillsUSA Super Mileage League can be here for you. Hopefully we can be an outlet for you. Hopefully we can get dirty together in the shops and dig in together and start moving forward. So thank you for listening. I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys or hearing from you guys very soon here. You know how to reach out to me. Log into the Google Classroom and we'll see you soon. Thank you.